G'day guys, welcome to PBHQ Live. This is episode number 340. I am Dwayne Nichols. You are probably sitting somewhere at home in Australia, New Zealand, perhaps throughout Asia, even occasionally the odd viewer from the States or Europe. But let me know who you are and where you are and why you're joining in. Do you play paintball? Have you played recently? Did you play at either the NXL in WA over the weekend just gone or the Wagga 3-man? Would love some feedback on both of those events. Obviously, I've already heard a little bit about the Wagga 3-man from some of the people that were here, but a bit more feedback about the NXL WA. I'm going to be covering off on that in just a little bit. And I'm also previewing the Heartbreak Ridge Mechanical 7-man event that's coming up this weekend, as well as Piano is coming up in South Australia this weekend, and Canberra have a beginners 3-man scheduled, which I'll also give a quick little mention to. So yeah, let me know who you are and where you are at the moment. If you're joining in, if you haven't already, you can hit the little thumbs up. You can also hit the subscribe button if you haven't done that. You can share the show too, so that if anyone who is not aware of PBHQ being on at 8 o'clock on a Monday evening, they can become aware of it. Yeah, well, Timmy Colgan's on the loo. Well, there's a good place to watch. And if you're sneaking away from work, you've only got about 29 minutes to go until I'm done, and that seems like a reasonable amount of time to sit on the toilet. I'm going to get straight into the show tonight with the major sponsors, as I quite often do, just about every single week. And paintballshop.com, this is quite relevant because two separate people asked me over the weekend if I knew of any gear bags for sale, and I didn't. But if you are looking for a gear bag, you can get them with free shipping, those being the Eclipse gear bags this week. If you use the code BAGFREESHIP at paintballshop.com, that includes the backpacks, the hold-alls, and the hold-all is just essentially their word for a duffel bag, marker bags, and then the classic big gear bags are also available with free shipping. And because of the size of those large gear bags, it's been a while since I've had one shipped down to me exclusively, but I think they cost something like 30 or 40 bucks shipping because they are quite big. And if you're getting free shipping on the gear bag, it's probably a good opportunity to buy a couple of other things to get put inside the gear bag when they ship it out to you. So an idea for you there. Chris Dickens is in, Brad Short, John O'Collins, Susan, Luke from Make It Rain said great weekend here at Wagga. Esteban from the Wicked Warriors is in as well. Thank you for joining in, guys. And thanks for the kind words, Luke. It was good to have you out here, even if you did run me down and bunker me during one of the points during our match. And yeah, I'll get more into the Wagga 3-man in just a little bit. But yeah, if you are looking for a gear bag, or if someone new or old in your team is looking for a gear bag, well, paintballshop.com are doing free shipping this week. Great time to get one. You'll save yourself a bit of money on those. Michael Nomoski just joining in at the moment as well. Gladiator, and this is sort of a bit of a spoiler for some of what's coming up later in the show, but more Gladiator teams finding themselves on the podium. Of course, in WA, STK, who are routinely atop podiums whenever they play events, and Asylum here in Wagga found ourselves on the podium as well. I'll go into much more detail on that, but it just proves that Gladiator are associated with all of the best teams in Australia. You just have to go through the list of teams and the events that they play and the podiums that they get on, the prize money, the medals, the trophies. If Gladiator got one of the medals or a trophy for every time their team was on a podium, they'd need to rent out a bigger warehouse. Absolutely incredible. Carter is in at the moment as well. Craig from the Adelaide Bounty Hunters. I actually was speaking to Richard earlier today from the Bounty Hunters and noticed that their team name isn't on the list of teams playing piano this weekend, but I know they're committed to a big year at Super 7, so I can only assume that's why. But if they can get a team together and get out and play their local tournament, I would encourage you to do that. But yeah, I will be talking about that a little bit further on. What I did want to talk about before I cover off on the events was something I posted about earlier today on Facebook. and that being Pit Etiquette. And yeah, I was pretty well blown away. Off the back of the Wagga 3-man over the weekend, myself and the refs and a couple of other people that hung around to help pack up and pressure wash down the field and pack it away. We did that, and then typically when I run these events, once the field's packed away, everybody else goes home. I hang around for an hour or two and clean up in the pits, you know, the cardboard boxes, the plastic, all the stuff that just is sort of a byproduct of a paintball tournament. And I'm pretty lucky. We tend to run smaller tournaments. People tend to be pretty good, but I have never had the pits come up like this. I took this photo this morning when I was back down at the field, but mind you, I didn't touch a thing. This is exactly how I seen it yesterday afternoon, and this is how I seen it this morning. There was not one bit of plastic around, no cardboard, nothing whatsoever. It was just absolutely Mickey Mouse condition through the pits. I know that the guys from Make It Rain, and Lana in particular, were responsible for that. But I wanted to make a bigger message out of it, and it seems like the message got across based on the Facebook post that if you are at an event, I wouldn't expect anybody to clean up other people's mess, but you and your team, someone from each team needs to be responsible for your own little area. And if you guys clean up your area and every other team does theirs, it saves the event organizers plenty of time and effort and money. I mean, it does come down to being a financial thing too that can drive up the cost of your tournaments. If at a big event like a Super Sevens, or you know, when the NXL events in Victoria, for example, were getting 10 teams to an event a couple of years ago. If 10 teams all leave their pit areas filthy, you might have to have your staff member hang back on a Sunday for some, you know, $35, $38 an hour, whatever the case it might be, for a couple of extra hours to go through and clean up all of that mess. So it can be costly. I think it's something simple that we can do as players. Really cool. Matt from Make It Rain is in. Luke saying that we use their bottles as well. Talking of Gladiator, that is. Kyle James is in. And they had a little bit of a thing up at Coffs Harbour, like a training weekend. I don't know. Kyle might be able to tell me how many people showed up for that one. Ross Barnes is in saying, "G'day all, great weekend at the Wagga 3-man. Yeti is in saying, thank you for the weekend. Your field is mint. Thanks, mate. I appreciate that. I do tell people that if anyone tries to tell me that the synthetic turf is better at any other venue, I won't listen to them. But yeah. Timmy Colgan saying, man, that'd be nice. And by extension, Nell hung around afterwards cleaning the usual leftovers. Yeah, and I do too. And I just accept it as part of what you do as an event organizer. And teams pay an entry fee. And I suppose as part of that, we do factor in the fact that we're going to have to clean up. But especially at a 3-man, your area, I mean, the team that shot the most boxes of paint at my event was 10 boxes. So you've got 10 cardboard boxes, a few plastic bags, and, you know, if you had a couple of bottles of water or Powerade or energy drinks or whatever across the weekend, you don't have a lot of rubbish. So if there's enough bins, which more recently I bought a bunch more bins to have around the place. Yeah, there's no excuse for it. And Chris Dickens saying, hey, I helped as well. Yeah, so it's not a criticism of any one player, of any one team whatsoever, but just maybe a little mental note that next time you finish an event, and for example, Piano and the HBR 7-man at Heartbreak Ridge are coming up this weekend. If you're playing those events, be the guy in your team or the girl in your team who says, hey guys, let's clean up a little bit. Whenever we go to Canberra the last couple of years, I've found where they keep their brooms, and I just run we clean all the cardboard and plastic away, and then I go and sweep our little 2-table area for our teams. It's such an easy thing to do. It takes literally 5 minutes. Just get it done. Osiris saying, getting keen for Piano this week with the bounty hunters playing. Oh, so there is some bounty hunters that are going to be there. And Craig is saying we do have a team entered into Piano. I'll check what well, yeah, the list I seen, it was posted like a week ago, and there was only 4 teams, and the bounty hunters, I didn't see their name on the list. So that might be updated to 5, as best I know. Billy Colias is joining in as well. And Lana said she could not lift the bins. Well, yeah, so in that photo, the one thing that you didn't see is just off to, like, or sort of behind where I took the photo was where the bins were, and they were packed full of the rubbish, but I just had to walk the bins to the skip, which I'm happy to do compared with what I normally have to do. So yeah, massive effort. Particular shout out to the Make It Rain guys. Hope everybody can take a leaf out of their book. Speaking of NXL WA, love this photo too. Kayla Wooden, by the way, just getting the photos out immediately. Few things I like about this photo, and I wanted to point out. Obviously, STK, many times consecutive winner of the NXL events in WA. A few things you may notice is that their sponsorship from HK is still continuing, but they are now wearing whatever mask they like. They've worked out a deal where they can wear whatever mask they like, where apparently most of them will be wearing JTs by the time the year's out, and they can use whatever loader they like. So no TFXs in this photo, a couple of Spires, a Bunker Kings Control, a couple of fresh new masks there. But my favorite part of the photo, and this, I don't know if I've never noticed this in WA before, is that they've got like a little bell on a star picket as at the home and away gates. I don't know how long that's been the case. The bell does look like it's seen some paint over time. I also wonder if the bell's ever been shot and if it rings. But yeah, I found that interesting. STK got the win from Menace in the finals. Rampage defeating Nomads in Division 2. So that were the results. There were 6 teams out at the event. The day was all over by 1 o'clock after getting through quite quickly. And Timmy tells me that most of the teams spent in the region of $200 to $300 per player. Given that there is only 6 teams, less games, less cost, it is really affordable to get out and play in the NXL WA at the moment. There's not too many good excuses for you to not be out there. Timmy's saying Kayla is on fire at the moment. Yep, totally agree. Bell's apparently been there for a year, and it does ring when shot. Does that happen often? Is it annoying? Does it confuse people? We've got a shipping container right beside the field where we keep our inflatable field, so it's out of the weather and well protected. And it's sort of on, like, I guess most of the time it's the Dorito 50. So if anyone's ever in the Dorito 50 and someone's shooting crossfield at them, man, that shipping container just rings out so loud, and you only have to ask. I think it might have been Sean from the Adelaide Assassins who was there over the weekend with 2 guns just raining down on him, hitting the shipping container just behind him. Man, he would not want to have been moving off the back of that. Amir from Malaysia is in at the moment. Cooper from the Bounty Hunters is also joining in. They are playing piano this weekend. It's good to be back to get some tournament prep in for 7s. And we'll be repping PBHQ. Yeah, owns one of the barrel socks. So make sure it's out there. And it can be confused, but it's not too often that it's shot in tournaments. So yeah, and I guess like a bell, it's not going to be that loud, but I just, a bit of creativity. I'd love to know who was behind that idea. I mean, for my events, we just have, if you touch the board, we don't have to ring a bell or anything. But it's much easier than having someone rig up a button. So yeah, pretty cool. Gaddy joining in at the moment as well. And make sure for all of you guys, whether you played the Wagga 3-man or the NXL WA and you're checking out the show this particular week because you have some feedback on the event that you played, or you just want to talk about it, or just check out PBHQ, make sure you subscribe to the show or to the channel, more so now that we're over on YouTube. So that was everything from the NXL in WA. Timmy might drop a comment and remind me when the next one is. I do have it on the PBHQ calendar, which if you don't already have, let me just get my phone here and give you a quick look. People always ask me the date of events. There is an app, if this will focus, it's called Team Up, that little green one right there. It's got all of the paintball events for the whole year in there. They're color-coded by your state. You just go through and find the one that you're looking for. So if I was to skip ahead a little bit, see how quickly I can find NXL WA's next event, or no. I'm finding a lot of NXL AC, WA NXL July 23. Is that the next one? That seems like a fair gap. There might be one that I missed on the scroll through there, but yeah, get the Team Up app. If you're wondering, I can send you the link so that you can get the app, and it'll load the calendar for you. so that you've got all of the events for that. But the Wagga 3-man happened over the weekend, and for the first time in a long time, somebody reminded me to get a all-in group shot of all the teams. Referees were in on the photo, which this used to be something we did at all the Wagga 3-mans, and it hasn't happened in a long, long time, so I was pretty keen to get this photo. And thank you to Talia, Dale from here in Wagga, his partner Talia, or his fiance Talia, was out sort of pitting and helping out and doing a few things, and she jumped in to take the photo on this one. So thanks, Talia. Chiefs got the win. Now, Chiefs is a couple of players, mates from Sydney, Brandon Miller from SWAT, Jesse Burke, who was with Marauders most recently, and Gaddy, who's been with the Eskimo Nation or the Cartel Nation or Eskimo, whatever they're going by this time around. They all came together as a team to take out the win, beating Asylum in the final, and Make It Rain from Dubbo getting third, kind of by default, with Top Hat Jokers, Heartbreak Ridge or HBR, and Adelaide Assassins all tying for fourth. All three of those teams were of the assumption that they wouldn't have made finals and had partially packed up by the time that we worked out who was going to be in. And so they all, because they were halfway through packing up, just said, let Make It Rain have third. So a win by default to get third place for the guys from Make It Rain, who played unbelievably all weekend. Truth be told, they should have probably been in the 1v2 final. If it was not for a stumble in their final prelim match, they would have been. They lost their final prelim, which allowed my team, Asylum, to sneak through in to the finals to play off for first and second. And in the finals, a particular shout out goes to Brandon Miller from SWAT. Both points in the final came down to a 1v1, which Brandon won the 1v1 in both of the finals points to win the event for his team. In the first one, Nathan, the least experienced of the players from Asylum, who's only been playing about 2 years now total, including a couple of beginners events, and he's just come on in leaps and bounds. It came down to Nathan and Brandon in the 1v1, and he actually bounced Brandon early on in the piece of that 1v1, so that could have been an entirely different story. And then the second 1v1 against Jack Highmarsh, who's been around for 6 or 7 years at this point, similar to Brandon and is quite experienced. They had a great 1v1. Each of them lost the other at one or another point. But eventually Jack tried to make a bump that was maybe a little bit too big, and Brandon picked him up on the move. So, yeah, massive effort. What else do I see in the comments? Talia's in the chat at the moment, so thanks for joining in. Luke wants the app. I'll make sure that I can organize that. And John, I must have missed a couple of comments there. I feel like YouTube occasionally does just give me like the highlights of comments rather than all the comments. Ross saying Make It Rain deserve third, perhaps better. Yeah, I honestly, they beat us in our head-to-head match, and we would have gone second tied with them had they have not lost in the prelims, and because they beat us head-to-head, they would have been the ones going in to play against Chiefs in the final, and they could have done anything from there. Obviously, Luke, great player. Tom, great player, and even Bray, who hasn't been out in a while, just a really unassuming, solid baller, and if he stuck with it, kid could be anything. So yeah, shout out to those guys. It was great to have the Top Hat Jokers out here, a famous paintball name. Actually got the shirt up in the background like I said that I would from the weekend that they left me. So thank you to those guys. And Miff had his 50th birthday here over the weekend as well, which Elmo made us all aware of during the little presentation that we did. Apparently I can change it from top comments to all comments. Well, I've got it on the iPad. I will have to learn that for future events. But yeah, we used Axiom for the paint here. It was the same paint that the Eskimo brothers used to win Super Sevens round 1, which is why I went with it. I figured if it was good enough for those guys, it would be good enough for my event. And outside of a couple of bounces, I thought it shot quite well. Everyone I was trying to shoot, I hit for the most part, and I can't blame the paint if I didn't. I can only blame myself. It was good from a personal point of view to be able to get out and play. There was a couple of games entirely, including the final, that I sat out whether I was working or just letting the boys play. But thanks to Dale, Nathan, and Jack, who let me jump in occasionally. It's very rare that I get to play at the Wagga 3-man. I could probably count on one hand the number of points I've played to fill in for someone who's hurt or late or whatever, or has to leave early in the past few years. But I probably played 10 points over the course of Sunday. Had a great time. It was really good. Gaddy saying great event. Damien Sin is just joining in at the moment. If you've seen, I believe Damien was the cover image that I pinched from Kayla, or the thumbnail for YouTube tonight for the show. And it says there, let me see here. Oh yeah, I'm on all messages. Okay, well there you go. Maybe they're just coming through too quickly and I'm missing them. But thanks for the feedback there. So yeah, I think everything went well, and quite legitimately, I said this in the presentation at the end of the day. I had 0 people come up to me and complain about referees. Most of the time, when you run an event, you're going to have someone come up and complain about something. Most of the time it's rubbish. Most of the time I ignore it in the most polite way that I can. But not one person made a complaint about a referee. I have a complaint, being that I'm the field owner and they didn't wipe my hits clean. The joke that Mike Wybrew has been going with for years is that as the field owner, you get an extra life. And not one time did I get an extra life on the weekend. So that's the only complaint I have. But yeah, shout out to the boys for doing the often thankless job. They came through and delivered well. And Dave Shoulders, who came over with the Adelaide Assassins guys in particular, formerly of Wagga, he came over to maybe play. He's coming off of an injury, or to maybe just coach or be around the boys. And he sort of just volunteered to referee, to jump in and be a part of it. So I didn't even ask him to, and he did a great job. Again, he came in to check me on a couple of occasions and didn't wipe it clean, but I'll let him go for that, I suppose. So that was the Wagga 3-man over the weekend. The events coming up this coming weekend, which will feature some of the same players that were here at the Wagga 3-man, is the Heartbreak Ridge are hosting a 7-man mechanical event. There is 4 teams competing, including SWAT, who have somewhat of a monopoly on mechanical events over the last couple of years. Also ran at action venues though, so let's see how they go on hostile territory. And I'm sure Jono will be swinging some cash around for all the refs to be making sure that his guys win this one. Nothing dodgy, of course. There is a spot left. Jono said that they can fit another team if you want to play some 7-man mechanical in Sydney this week at Heartbreak Ridge. So get in touch with Jono for that one. Playing across 2 fields, you can use your electro. You'll be capped at 6 balls per second. The Bush Pigs will be the refs, so you know what you're going to get with that bunch of legends. And yeah, it's good to see that another venue in Sydney is running events. They're running the Australian Bushball Masters there this year, of which they have already ran 1 event, and 1 more is coming up in about a month's time. And now they're running this 7-man mechanical. This is sort of like a tester event. They plan on running more of these single-day events. You play everyone twice across the 2 fields. So it sounds like it will be a good day for those guys. Luke saying Lana gave you the extra life. Yeah, no, we'll see. She cleans up the pits, and when she shoots me, her paint doesn't break. So gee, I've got a lot of good things to say about Lana after the weekend. And to just cut back to the Wagga 3-man for 1 second, there was a point where the Make It Poor, Lana's team that she was sort of not supposed to be playing on, I think it was like their first or second match of the weekend, she was in her hoodie and trackies, and one of the players on their team thought that the match was over after a couple of points, and her 2 teammates were at the start gate. She grabbed a mask, no headband, no head wrap, no nothing, threw a pod pack on, took a gun out there, and I think she picked up a 2-pack and won the point for her team to bring the match back to a draw. So yeah, and legitimately, not like in the HK jogger style trackies, just like your house trackies and your house hoodie. Got out there, pod pack, mask, went out, killed 2 people. Yeah, got the point for the team. So massive effort. Really cool to watch too. Everyone was blown away when she was walking back in and like didn't know if she was grabbing pods, and I was like, no, she just yeah, clutched a point for a team that would have been starting with 2 if it wasn't for her being so alert. So yeah, really, really cool. The other event coming up this week. Refs Inc. are making their way over. A couple of Refs Inc. from Victoria, as they tend to do, and there may or may not be a live stream. I didn't actually reach out to Will McDonald today in relation to it, but I know as of like a month or so ago, he was looking to do one. So hopefully there's a little live stream happening out at Skirmish SA, and we can all watch the games as they happen. I may have, when I was talking about piano, lost the audio there. Is that, I just see, yeah, my mistake. Let me just check here real quick. I most certainly did. So sorry. Yeah, I didn't get the audio on that slide, but the general gist is it is their 6-year anniversary event because April 1st, 2017 is when the first ever piano event happened. And the medals for the event will be replicas of the event from the first time around. So 4 or 5 teams. The layout is online. It was an old 3-man layout from years and years ago that they ran when piano started out 6 years ago as a 3-man event, but they've added a few bunkers to make it suit for 5-man. So yeah, my apologies for not having the mic. The mic links, it would double talk the old way that I did it. So now I have to add it to each slide sort of as I go through, I suppose is the best way to describe it. And I missed on piano there. So my mistake. Carter saying, I'm keen to one day actually manage to hit someone with a paintball in a tourney. Yeah, I'm about 7 or 8 years in, and I've done it a handful of times, and every time it's a thrill. I could, yeah, maybe 10 times over the years I've taken someone out on a paintball field rather than just noticing them all walking off as my teammates do all the work. But riding the coattails of your teammates can be quite glorious as well. I encourage you to all try it. Just get a bunch of really good players around you, and it makes you look a whole bunch better than what you are. And Chris Dickens is correct. Accuracy by volume is the best method of shooting people. If you just keep putting them in the air, eventually someone will just make a mistake and walk right into one. So yeah, best of luck to you, Carter. If you keep it up, mate, I'm sure you'll kill someone eventually. Righto, so that's the Heartbreak Ridge event and piano. They are all sorted for the weekend. Let me give some shout outs to some birthdays. Mark from Queensland, James, Nouds, Tom, who was here just over the weekend with Make It Rain, and Daniel Danzy, all celebrating birthdays this weekend. Photo of Nouds shooting a GTI. I don't know, that must have been a loner given that he was in Victoria at the time. So yeah, happy birthday all you guys. I hope you have a great week. And also, like I mentioned earlier, to Miff, who was here for his 50th birthday in Wagga over the weekend. Oh yeah, Chris Dickens also pointing out it might be a ref, but a kill is a kill. That is true. And John O'Collins saying shoot your own teammates, which his team was about to win a point over the weekend at the Wagga 3-man with all 3 players alive, and Jono shot both of his teammates, so he got to go and hit the buzzer, hang the flag, whatever you want to call it, go and touch the backboard in one of the more hilarious moments of the weekend. So there is definitely ways around struggling to get kills. Right off the start gate's one of the best ways. Just swing your gun up right behind someone's head and execute them. It's one of the best ways to do it. And if your teammate gets a concussion, you'll get more spins because they won't be back on the field. So consider that a little bit of a tidbit. Not from personal experience that's happened to me, but I certainly have seen it once at NXL down in Victoria. So don't rule anything out. that's everything I've got for tonight. I just wanted to, oh, there's the Australian Bushball Masters speaking, and the Brisbane Paintball League as events coming up. And the Easter weekend is the weekend of the New Zealand Race Series. And then May, we're right back into, well, the end of April has the NXL ACT. And then May, we're right back into the next round of Super Sevens throughout May. And the calendar is pretty busy. So, yeah, keep an eye out for that. Matt Bishop saying that was gold. And getting G5 in a 3-man is impressive. Yeah, Luke suggesting that a ref is 2 kills. Well, there you go. Look, I'm not going to argue with anyone, but we had 5 refs out there at the 3-man most of the time. Plus your 2 teammates, the 3 enemies. You could get 10. If you shoot yourself, go for 11, null point. That'd be pretty wild. So, look, there's ways around these things. I guess that's what I'm getting at. But that's everything for tonight's episode of the show. Thank you for joining in. Hopefully you've hit the thumbs up button already. Hopefully you're copying the link right now, hitting the share button so that you can share it so other people can watch it. And you've subbed to the channel as well so we can join in again next Monday and talk a whole bunch more paintball. Until then, have a great week. See ya. Bye.